Hi Libra, welcome to your fortnightly check-in with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Libra, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. Remember, they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. That being said, there's no astrology in these, right? So watch them for whichever one you feel resonates with you. I often say to people, watch them before, watch them after the fortnight. So, sometimes retroactively, just to see how they tally up and which ones really are resonating with you the most. With that said, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So we're going to pop these to the side and we are going to get in on your actions and your results for the next fortnight ahead. All right, so for this you have the moon card. Okay, so in terms of this is your actions and your results. So things that you're setting into motion. Now, the moon card does suggest you are trying to resurrect something here, whether this is a friendship, a connection, maybe it is a partnership, a collaboration, maybe it's an old service or product if you work for yourself, etc. There's something here that you're bringing back from beyond the grave, in a sense, because the moon card is the past. Now, you've got this with the Hierophant card. For some of you, this could literally be an old spiritual path or practice that you're bringing back into your present experience. So maybe in your past you were a Christian, maybe in your past you were a Catholic, maybe in your past you were, I don't know, maybe you were more spiritual, maybe you had some connection to an occult circle or even a coven of some sort. The sense here is that something from your past that is a spiritual practice, belief, or energy you are bringing back into your world. Another way that this could show up as well, on a more practical level, this could be you realigning with an old place of work, maybe an old institution that you used to study at. There's something from your past that you're bringing back into the present that has a very real world energy to it, or potentially a spiritual element to it. Now look at this. Then you've got the Death card, right? With this Hierophant card, this could be you, so maybe you're bringing back a spiritual path or practice, maybe you're going back to an old employer. Now, I've got to be really honest with you, that Death card suggests that the results from this may not be what you expected. So let's say you try to go back to an old place of work, right? And they say, actually, we don't have anything for you, but there is this and this. So it's like you can't go back to exactly where you were previously, but you can have a more evolved version of whatever you had before. So the results basically are saying, if you're trying to literally bring something back exactly as it was, you yourself are already different, right? You are the main element in all of this. If you are so vastly different, what makes you think you're going to be able to walk into something and have it be exactly the same as it was before? Not possible, all right? So this week, this fortnight, right? And, for those of you that are watching, so many people have said to me, like, Raf, we need these weeklies back. Maybe I'm feeling a little bit of the peer pressure. Maybe there's a part of me that's like, let's see what we can do. And one of the things that I came up with was a fortnightly check-in to try and kind of meet you guys halfway, right? Now, then you've got for your communications and your career and your communications, should I say, you've got the Lovers card. So there are choices to be made. Potentially one for some of you that could be, a decision that there's a lot riding on this. The Lovers card, for a select few of you as well, maybe you're thinking about mixing business with pleasure. Always be mindful of that. Then you've got the Eight of Wands. So I am going to say a lot of the input that you seem to be getting when it comes to the career, the profession, maybe even your academic life, seems to be coming from people that are either not in your direct vicinity or they don't have the strongest understanding to allow you to, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like maybe they don't have the strongest understanding for you to be present with, right? And what I mean by this is it's one thing to give someone information when you're there, you can see exactly what they're going through or what they're dealing with. It's another thing, you know, if you're advising somebody that lives half the world away, you can only give a certain amount of information that's going to be, do you know what I mean? Like, because you're relying really solely on their perspective. So I guess this comes down to a question of how honest are you being with the sources of information or support that you are asking for. It's one thing to say to someone like, oh, you know, I need to chuck this around, I need to get a different perspective on it, but are you giving the full spectrum of exactly what's taking place? That's the question that really needs to be asked for you, or should I say by you, to yourself, right? How unbiased are you being? Then you've got the Magician card. So I really like this. Now, in terms of the progression, right? So for the Magician card with the Eight of Wands, this is connecting to somebody that maybe doesn't live in the same vicinity as you. And if you can bear, and you can bear to bring yourself to open up the communications and be really honest about where you're actually at, what is taking place at the moment, you might be able to get some insight that really does help you push ahead. Now, you've got a double hit of mercurial energy here. So this person that is assisting you, connecting with you, collaborating with you over or on your career could literally be they could be a Virgo, they're more likely to be a Gemini. The reason I say that, the Lovers card is Gemini ruled, the Magician card is Mercury. So there's a lot of information this fortnight, like there's a lot of information going back and forth, lots of deliberation, lots of making decisions that are going to have a lot of you know, certainly making decisions at the moment that are going to have a lot of far-reaching ripples, you know, beyond this fortnight. So really take time to pay attention to what's going on there. Now, that being said, for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, I mean, look, the Lovers card, the Eight of Wands and the Magician, like someone's hot for teacher. Maybe the teacher's hot for you. Like, you know, if you're in university and you're of an older age and consent and everything, like, you know, as long as everything's above board and there's no coercion or anything like that, then hey, listen, if it works for you, it works for you. The other way that this could show up as well, maybe you're starting to build a much stronger idea over this fortnight of where you want to specialize, where you feel like you're actually going to be able to make the most headway. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, this could literally be a decision that you're making about something that you want to take to a boss or a superior. Maybe you've seen something or witnessed something. Maybe there's something that you want or need or desire. And this fortnight, you're really paying attention to the energy that is surrounding you right now so that you can kind of say, okay, if I ask for this at the moment, what is the likelihood that it's going to be delivered, fulfilled, or even heard? So you are really reading the room right now, which I think is great. It will be interesting to see how it kind of plays out. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, I like this for you getting I like this for you getting ahead. But it's almost like you realize that there is maybe not a level of sacrifice, but there's a level of, you know what, I can only check in with people so much before I just have to forge ahead and do what I gotta do. All right, so there's an element here of that. For those of you that are retired and no longer working, this could, again, and across the board, right, for all of you, this could be mixing business with pleasure. Now, if you're retired, there is no business, right? There is other things or other pursuits that you have. And some of those could literally be where you are using skills, maybe you're studying something and potentially you are connecting with somebody through those studies, hobbies, etc., you know, that goes beyond this and ends up being something else. For your love and relations, you've got the Devil card. Very interesting. Look at that, right? The Devil card falls right on top of the Lovers. Now, the Lovers card being a choice or a heartfelt quandary, literally, when we make, and this isn't to frighten you into thinking like, oh my gosh, I need to make sure I make the right decision. It's not about that. The reason this is important is because the devil card is the opposite to the six, to the lovers, right? The lovers card is number 6, the devil card is number 15. 1 and 5 gives you 6. These are direct opposites in the Taroic wheel. And the reason this is important is because some decision that you are making when it comes to your career and or your profession that may have something to do with your love life, or where you're trying to cross the streams, may be giving you a heads up to say this is probably not the best way to go down this route. So if you're thinking, if you're single and you got your eye at somebody at work, etc., maybe you're being asked to make a bit more of an informed decision here. Then you've got the 5 of Wands. For those of you that are thinking of dating within your work, professional, academic, fraternal, sorority, or anything, like if you're thinking about dating from within the ranks of the people that you work with or are collected to, I would advise against it, just because it's this combination. And I mean, if you decide, Raf, the cat's already out of the bag, or the goodies are already in my bed, this might be a case of you having to say, okay, if we're going to go down this route regardless, you got to keep it stum. That 5 of Wands does suggest you do not want this to be common knowledge, because it may become a problem or an issue later, especially if that person's your boss and you suddenly start getting a promotion. Not to say, right, it's not about whether it is, the way that the optics make it look. When people don't get what they want, the first thing they do is reach for a reason why that is the case. And if you've already started dating the boss or a superior and now you're being shown favour because you've actually worked your fucking ass off, which is probably the case because you're Librans, the first conclusion people are going to go, oh, well, you're sleeping to the top. That's how you got that promotion. That's how you got that advancement. So if you are sort of mixing business with pleasure and one of you is in a higher position, think about the optics, not from the case, like what other people think of us really is none of our fucking business, let's be honest. But we do need to be aware of how it looks. All right, so just keep that in mind. Also, for a select few of you, for those of you that have been in situationships with someone that is in or a part of your friendship group, bun that. Right, I'm gonna tell you straight, like we say here in the UK, bun that. Right, let it go. With this combination of cards, especially there with the Judgment card, way more trouble than it's worth. Yes, this person might be, they might give you that thrill and make you feel all of that. Destructive, right? I just got to call a spade a spade. Now, for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, this is you and your partner trying to hash out something that you've needed to let go of or to phase out for some time. It is something that you're doing together. Maybe this is a friendship group that you're tied to. Maybe it is a specific friend that's always trying to get in between, you're like that slimy sort of person that kind of does all of that business. This could be that and maybe this is the fortnight where you stop and realize, okay, in order for us to really move forward at our best, we're going to have to release this thing, this place, this person, and to move forward. All right. So an interesting one for the love life this week, for fortnight. For your money and materials, you've got the 4 of Pentacles. Interesting that falls on the Devil card. Then you've got the 3 of Pentacles. Oh, get this money, honey. Then you've got the 9 of Swords. Sorry, sometimes I don't have that filter thing. Actually, that's not true. I tend to censor and edit myself a lot more than I should. A lot more than I used to, anyway. As a young person, geez, you guys would have been like, oh my God. Right, 4 of Pentacles on the Devil card. Lax up with your money this fortnight. I'm not saying go and start spending like a crazy person, but the 4 of Pentacles with the 3 of Pentacles, here's an investment that you want to make, are planning to make, and that 9 of Swords is like you're in such turmoil about whether you should or shouldn't spend this money. It's like, well, I've got it to spend and this would be a really good investment, but it's like as you're talking yourself into it, you're trying to talk yourself out of it. be in or be out. I know you're a Libran, you know, and you're always weighing things up, but this fortnight, I think it's a good investment. I think this is a wise way for you to spend your money. I don't know what it is for you specifically, but that's the feeling that I'm getting from it. That Nine of Swords, though, you're way too in your head about whether, you know, well, what if I buy this course and it doesn't do what it says on the tin? Well, again, this comes back down to self-responsibility and accountability. Are you going to do the fucking work? All right? Now, I'm going to get off my F train because it's been like F-bomb, F-bomb, F-bomb. For your physical health and vitality, this actually, so for some of you, this could be you're switching up your health routines. And maybe it's like maybe you've had lots of really great success with a certain workout that you're doing, and now all of a sudden it stops because it's plateaued. It's like you're looking at something and getting more specific on it because you understand that it's no longer working the way that it did. Nothing wrong with that. I actually think this is a good thing. Every so often in life we've got to switch it up. When it comes to your home and environment, it's an interesting one because the Four of Pentacles is, in many regards, can represent our home and our structure. With the Three of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords, this is you learning something about the home that now needs to be adjusted that you weren't expecting. So what I mean by this is it could literally be like, maybe the landlord comes to you and says, we're going to put the rent up. It's very common at this moment in time, especially with the world is on fire. Is anyone else sick of it yet? Right, so that's one way that it could show up. It could also be maybe the home needs something with or within its structure. So there could be some, remedial works that need to be done. Maybe the plaster starts to come away. Like there's something that needs to be done to the home that you're not expecting. And it may cause a little bit of a, Nine of Swords, like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. But to be honest with you, with the Three and the Four of Pentacles, it does suggest this is something that's needed to be done for quite some time. All right? Okay, so let's have a look at your cross purposes. So what we're going to look at here, for all the great stuff that came up in this reading, let's see what potentially, not is, but what potentially is getting in the way of that. Is it coming from external forces, or is it an inside job, right? Just like happiness, just like, all of our deep wounds and stuff. Eventually, we realise, okay, I've got to get out my own way. So, for your cross purposes, you have, I'm toying about with starting with the cross purposes, just so that we finish on a nicer note. Let me know what you think. You have the Moon card, right? That was your first card out from this full deck, right? And so look at that. You got a double hit of this Moon card energy. Things, people from the past, things and people and situations from the past. It's like you're looking for them to be exactly as they were, and they're not. You are not the same person that you were last week, last month, let alone 5-6 years ago. And trust me, honey, this is a leaf that I could take out of my own friggin' book right now. And on top of that, you got the Page of Cups. Page of Cups coupled with the Moon card literally represents Pisces season. We are currently in Pisces season. You got about, as I'm filming this and I get it out to you, we got about 10-ish days. Yeah, we got about 10 days left of Pisces season. Use it wisely, all right? Use it wisely. With that said, the other thing as well, because Page of Cups, this is really about checking in with how you actually feel about something now versus how you used to feel about it. So again, don't let the echo or the shadow of the past trick you into believing that everything will be the same if I can just do this thing again. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments. Do you love it? Do you loathe it? What do you think of this new format? Take care, and I'll see you soon.